It's no surprise to anyone when we see SpaceX waiting for months due to regulatory delays. This is not how things were supposed to go. Regulations are meant to make launches safe without holding back companies from advancing. But in reality, companies are spending more time trying to get necessary licenses than they are developing rockets. We all know the FAA is one of these slow regulatory bodies, delaying SpaceX's progress with Starship launches again and again. But now, there's another commission causing even bigger problems: the California Coastal Commission. This time, the situation is even more intense because the U.S. Space Force is backing SpaceX. Before we dive deeper into this issue, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more updates on Starship and SpaceX's groundbreaking achievements. The U.S. Space Force is one of SpaceX's biggest clients. Since 2019, SpaceX has launched dozens of missions for the Space Force, delivering critical payloads for defense, surveillance, and communications. These launches include the deployment of GPS satellites, surveillance satellites, and classified military payloads, has secured contracts worth billions of dollars. In 2020, SpaceX was awarded a $316 million contract to launch national security payloads. In 2022, they won a $1.7 billion contract to handle 44 missions for the U.S. Space Force over 5 years. But now, they've run into a problem. On October 10th, the California Coastal Commission denied a request from Vandenberg Space Base to increase SpaceX's number of launches. These launches are critical for getting military satellites into orbit, which are needed for communication, surveillance, and defense. The decision makes no sense when you consider how important these missions are for national security. Delaying these launches puts the U.S. at risk of falling behind in the space race. When you want to launch a rocket, you can't just pick any location. The geography and surrounding airspace are critical. Vandenberg Space Base, located on the central coast of California, is uniquely positioned for a very specific purpose: launching rockets into polar orbits. This makes it one of the most important launch sites in the United States. However, a recent development has brought problems with this operational advantage. To keep up with the competition, the U.S. Space Force wants to launch more small satellites to create better networks for communication. To do this, SpaceX needs to double its launches from Vandenberg, increasing from 50 to 100 or more each year. But the Coastal Commission's refusal to approve more launches is holding this plan back, giving China and Russia a chance to pull ahead. The California Coastal Commission's decision to deny SpaceX's request to increase Falcon 9 rocket launches from 36 to 50 has sparked controversy. The decision has also raised concerns about political motivations. California is a Democrat-majority state, and Musk's recent political involvement has caused tension with state leadership. Musk has become more vocal about supporting Republican candidates and policies, including donating significant amounts to conservative campaigns. Over the past few years, Musk and California Governor Gavin Newsom have publicly clashed. Musk criticized California's strict COVID-19 restrictions, threatened to move Tesla operations out of the state, and eventually relocated Tesla's headquarters to Texas. Musk and Newsom have exchanged heated comments on social media, further escalating the feud. During the commission's decision, some members openly referenced Musk's political behavior. For example, Commissioner Gretchen Newsom expressed concerns over Musk's statements, saying, "Musk is hopping about the country, spewing political falsehoods while claiming he's helping people." Critics argue that such comments prove the decision was influenced by politics rather than environmental or safety concerns. SpaceX responded by filing a federal lawsuit against the Coastal Commission. The company claims that the decision was politically motivated and that the commission has no authority to regulate launches classified as federal projects. Governor Gavin Newsom, despite his past conflicts with Musk, has supported SpaceX on this issue, saying, "I'm with Musk on this one." SpaceX is not only trying to expand its Falcon 9 launches to support the U.S. Space Force, they are also working on expanding their Starship operations. Right now, SpaceX has only one launch tower for Starship at their Starbase facility in Boca Chica, Texas. That single tower has been used for all of Starship's test flights. But this is not enough to handle what Musk has planned for the future. Musk has stated multiple times that he wants to launch Starship more than 1,000 times annually, and eventually, even conduct multiple launches every day. With just one tower, or even one launch site, this goal is impossible to achieve. To make this happen, SpaceX has already started building a second launch tower at Starbase. But even with 2 towers in Texas, it still won't be enough to meet their long-term goals. This is why SpaceX is also working on building Starship launch facilities at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. They are developing a launch tower at Launch Complex 39A, the same site that SpaceX uses for Falcon 9 launches. Expanding to multiple locations like this is critical because Musk's goal requires Starship to be launched more often than any rocket in history. The FAA has recently approved a draft environmental review that would allow SpaceX to increase its annual Starship launches from Starbase to 25 launches per year by 2025. This is already a big increase, but it's nowhere near Musk's goal. While SpaceX is pushing forward with its rockets despite ongoing legal battles, Blue Origin is once again facing setbacks with its New Glenn rocket, which continues to struggle with delays and technical challenges. Earlier this year, Jeff Bezos announced that the New Glenn rocket would launch for the first time by the end of 2024. However, it now seems this launch will face multiple delays before it can finally lift off. Serious problems with New Glenn's development make it highly unlikely that it will launch in 2024 at all. On paper, New Glenn looks like an outstanding heavy-lift launch vehicle with specifications that could rival some of the best rockets in the industry. It stands 313 feet tall with a diameter of 23 feet and is capable of delivering more than 45,000 kilograms to low Earth orbit and 13,000 kilograms to geostationary transfer orbit. Its first stage is powered by 7 BE-4 engines, generating a combined thrust of 3.8 million pounds at liftoff. The stage is designed to be reusable for up to 25 missions, landing vertically on a ship stationed in the Atlantic Ocean, similar to SpaceX's Falcon 9 booster recovery system. The second stage uses 2 BE engines, optimized for vacuum operation, burning liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen to produce a combined thrust of 173,000 pounds. This design theoretically allows New Glenn to deliver payloads to a variety of orbits. However, despite these impressive specifications, New Glenn has yet to match its paper potential. The rocket, which began development in 2016, has faced numerous setbacks and delays, preventing it from making its maiden flight. Unlike its competitors, such as SpaceX's Falcon Heavy or NASA's Space Launch System, New Glenn has remained grounded for years, primarily due to technical issues and delays in engine development. One major issue has been the BE engines. These engines, which power both New Glenn and United Launch Alliance's Vulcan Centaur, have faced significant delays during development. Even after years of development, Blue Origin only delivered the first flight-ready BE-4 engines to United Launch Alliance in 2022, well behind schedule. It's not just the engines. New Glenn is now facing bigger problems with its hardware. Reports indicate that Blue Origin has recently encountered 2 significant failures that damaged key rocket components intended for upcoming launches. In one incident, a section of New Glenn's upper stage crumpled due to worker error. The hardware was moved from a humid outdoor environment into an air-conditioned storage facility without proper ventilation or pressure release valves. The sudden change in pressure caused the structure to collapse inward, similar to a crushed soda can. This kind of error points to lapses in handling procedures and quality control. In another incident, a different upper stage component failed during stress testing. The hardware was pushed to its limits to identify weaknesses, but instead of withstanding the test, it resulted in an explosion. This suggests possible flaws in the rocket's design or materials used for construction. If these issues are not addressed, they could lead to catastrophic failures during launch. A structural collapse or upper stage failure during flight could result in the loss of payload and the vehicle itself. Beyond technical challenges, Blue Origin must navigate complex regulatory processes to secure a launch license for New Glenn's maiden flight. Obtaining a license for a new rocket that has not flown before is a difficult process. The Federal Aviation Administration conducts extensive reviews to ensure public safety. Without this regulatory clearance, even if a rocket is technically ready, it cannot proceed to launch. For new rockets like New Glenn, which have no flight history, the FAA requires a lot of data to verify the vehicle's reliability and safety measures. SpaceX's Starship faced similar hurdles. SpaceX waited nearly a year to get the launch license for Starship's first integrated test flight. The FAA finally issued the license on April 14, 2023, after detailed safety, environmental, and policy reviews. The delay was due to the need for extensive evaluations of Starship's new design and its potential environmental impacts. As of now, Blue Origin has not received the necessary FAA license for New Glenn's first flight. Without this approval, the rocket cannot launch, no matter how ready it is technically. In contrast, competitors like SpaceX have achieved significant milestones, showcasing rapid development and frequent launches. As of November 26, 2024, SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket completed its 400th successful mission. A key factor in SpaceX's success is the reusability of its rocket boosters. On December 4, 2024, a Falcon 9 booster was launched and recovered for a record 24th time. SpaceX's Starship program has also made notable progress, conducting 6 test flights to date. The fifth flight, in particular, garnered global attention for its groundbreaking success. On October 13, 2024, SpaceX launched Starship from its Starbase facility in South Texas. After propelling the upper stage toward its intended trajectory, the Super Heavy booster executed a controlled return to the launch site. In a historic first, the booster was caught mid-air by the launch tower's mechanical arms, known as Mechazilla, eliminating the need for traditional landing legs. The 6th test flight, conducted on November 19, 2024, further demonstrated Starship's capabilities. The upper stage performed a controlled splashdown in the Indian Ocean, validating improvements in heat shielding and re-entry procedures. However, SpaceX opted not to attempt a booster catch during this flight, focusing instead on refining other mission parameters. Looking ahead, SpaceX is preparing for its 7th Starship test flight, targeting a launch in early 2025. A significant milestone in these preparations was achieved on December 9, 2024, when SpaceX conducted a static fire test of the Super Heavy booster designated for this mission. During this test, all 33 Raptor engines were briefly ignited at the company's Starbase facility in South Texas. The upcoming flight will utilize Ship 33, marking the first deployment of a Block 2 upper stage paired with Booster 14, a Block 1 vehicle. In October 2024, Ship 33 underwent cryogenic testing to assess its structural integrity under extreme cold conditions, while Booster 14 completed similar cryogenic tests and a successful spin prime test in the same period. These tests are essential to ensure the components can withstand the rigors of launch and space environments. According to documents filed with the Federal Aviation Administration, Flight 7 is targeted to lift off from Texas in the early morning hours of January 11, 2025. This timing will allow a NASA aircraft to capture and record thermal imagery of Starship's re-entry, which will occur during nighttime over the Indian Ocean. The mission will focus on improving key parts of the Starship system based on what SpaceX learned from earlier flights. For the Super Heavy booster, the plan is to launch and then have it descend into the Gulf of Mexico after stage separation. This will help SpaceX test the booster's engines, grid fins, and landing process. The goal is to make sure the booster can land accurately so that, in future flights, it can be caught by the launch tower's arms, known as Mechazilla. For the Starship upper stage, SpaceX will try another controlled splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Changes have been made to the heat shield and re-entry process based on the results of the last flight. This test will check if these improvements work and if the ship can handle the heat and pressure of re-entry. Musk has said that this will likely be the last ocean landing. If things go well, future tests will try to catch the upper stage using the launch tower's arms. After the splashdown, engineers will check the ship for any damage and make fixes if needed. That's all for today. Make sure to subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.